Hello and welcome to Mcedam's universe of DVD collecting. Today we'll be looking at the fantasy genre. As you can see, it's really tiny compared to the rest of my DVDs, mainly because I prefer sci-fi and logic, and also I have a tendency to not like fantasy films when I'm grown up. But when I was a kid, I used to love fantasy films. So most of these films that come from my childhood. Right then, let's begin. Right then, we have Clash of Titans to begin with. From 1981. Harryhausen's great effects for the time. I really enjoyed this film. I grew up as a child, of course. My problem is that the god aspects seem to get away the story. I mean, there's some scenes with the gods which seem like they're only there to remind us that they exist. Jason and the Argonauts, one of the greatest movies of all time. What needs to be said? Black Death, a film with Sean Bean. No prizes there for whoever finds out what happens at the end of this movie. Beowulf. I really enjoyed this film. Most people don't seem to enjoy this film. The effects are really weird because when they're talking, it looks really fake and really like an animated movie, like it is. But then when the action scenes kick in, it looks super realistic, and I don't know what the hell is up with the effects on that one. Moonwalker, terrible movie, great music video. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, one of my favourite movies of all time, loved as a child, and I watched it recently, and it really holds up. It holds up very well. Another of my favourite movies, The Princess Bride. This is the special edition, as you can see there. Hilarious, one of the funniest movies ever made, and some really quotable quotes, which I won't quote because I'll mess it up. Stardust, which is the first movie I went to see 3 times in the cinema. Yeah, it was good. There's some bits that seemed out of place, like Ricky Gervais' character, but some bits were absolutely amazing. Robert De Niro's character is freaking hilarious. The Scorpion King, the prequel to The Mummy. I know I don't have The Mummy, it's really weird. I find it really forgettable, this movie. I know that there's some people who like this movie, and if you do, more power to you, but I found it really boring. Braveheart. I found it really boring, I did. It's, I don't know, I found it really boring. There's some funny moments, like when they're showing their asses to the English army. But apart from that, it's pretty boring, I think. Series on Unfortunate Events, which is one of the few movies on this that I didn't watch as a child. I watched it recently after a friend recommended it, and I loved it. It's a kids' film in the style of like the first few Harry Potter films, but it's really freaking dark. And Jim Carrey is great in the film. Night at the Museum, which is one of my favourite films. I love Ben Stiller in this. I love all the characters. I love the style, the setting, everything. And it makes me want to go to a museum every time I want to watch it. Right then, and this is the box set of Indiana Jones. As you can see, I got Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hold on. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade, and bonus features. I really love these movies. I mean, they're part of my childhood, of course. But I wouldn't say they're as good as, say, the Star Wars trilogy or or many of the other great movies that people associate these with. Also, here's an Indiana Jones poster, which I have on the wall because I love Indiana Jones. Right then, where are we? The Harry Potter movies. Loved them. I don't think there's any bad Harry Potter movie. I think the weakest is The Goblet of Fire because it seems like it's trying to tell its own story, and then the story arc of the franchise keep butting in, and it was really distracting. and he didn't know what story he wanted to tell. Did it want to be a story arc type movie for the franchise, or did it want to be its own little thing? Best movie, in my opinion, is The Prisoner of Azkaban, because it knows what it wants to do, which is its own standalone thing, which then builds up to other movies. But it doesn't feel like it's forcing it down your throat. Right then, last and not least, it's the Hobbit / Lord of the Rings trilogy. Trilogies, I should say. As you can see, I prefer the extended editions, and I'm one of the few people who consider, well, I say one of the many people who consider the extended editions to be the main versions of the films. Sadly, as I'm filming this, Battle of the Five Armies is not out on extended edition, but I have seen it, and I loved it. One of the things I will say about The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, which people are going to kill me for, is that I prefer the Hobbit films to The Lord of the Rings. I know the Hobbits, the dwarves, can get really annoying, but some of them, especially Thoron Odenshield, was badass, and he had much more character than Arathorn from Lord of the Rings, and Bilbo was such an amazing character, which I really preferred over Frodo, if I gotta be honest. He's lovable, but he's not to the point where he became sort of pathetic, and you're wondering, why the hell are you even in this story? So we got An Unexpected Journey, which is a great film, though most people disagree. The Desolation of Smaug, the ending in that is amazing. Of course, that's where Battle of the Five Armies takes place. And then you got Fellowship of the Ring. I got two versions. I got the extended versions of the Two Towers. But this is the first one I got. This is the first Lord of the Rings DVD I got. Yeah, I got this one, and I didn't have the first two, which is really weird. But I had this, and I fell in love with it. And so I got them then in special editions, and that's why I got 2 copies of that. I may start collecting them in these as well, so that way then I can have a super complete. And last but not least, I have The Return of the King, which is a heartbreaking, amazing movie that everyone should have seen. Well, of course, you got to watch the first 2 Lord of the Rings films, and maybe The Hobbit, if you like the Hobbit films, which I do. It's kind of upsetting when you rewatch it, because it's the end of the entire franchise, at least in terms of the way that you should watch them, or at least the way I watch them, which is The Hobbit first and Lord of the Rings, even though The Lord of the Rings came first. So, there you go. And there is my fantasy collection. Thank you for watching.